Business is great because it's such a playground for the expression of anything we want to create and taking it to market and finding people that want to pay us for it. And then at some point it changes. Here's 5 things that you need to know about functional consciousness regarding you and your business that has changed the game for me. So I'm Crystal, and I'm a former Access Consciousness facilitator turned entrepreneurial CEO executive coach. The first thing to know just about everything in general is that everything is energy. You likely already know this. You're creative, you're artistic, you've started a business, you understand to a certain degree everything's energy. But here's the thing. Once people like you and me start getting into business, that initial intuitive thing starts to get kind of covered up because business has a lot of stuff to it, as you've noticed, right? There's a lot going on. And if you want to know a little bit more about my story, just go to the video right before this. So everything is energy. When you and I start functioning as if that's not true, and we do that in all kinds of unconscious ways. In fact, most of the ways we choose this are incredibly unconscious. But first and foremost, we are not taught that energy is our first language. And that's actually point number 2, is that you have abilities with energy. That's really important to know because we are taught to function in this very molecular world as if things aren't molecular. And business in particular is an incredible distraction against our nature, which is this ability with energy. So this isn't woo. This is just the way it is. This is science. And what consciousness tools do, functional consciousness tools, they give you access to the science, not from your brain, but from your being. Your being is energetic. Your being is acoustical. Just like if you look at instruments, some are acoustical, some are electrical. They have a different resonance. You are an acoustical being. Business puts you into, by its very nature, into electrical systems. Have you ever noticed that you don't function as well on electrical systems? Electrical systems are thinking, feeling, emotions. I'm not saying don't feel, bodies feel. But all of those things that put you into judgment. And that's just their design. It's how electrical systems work. Electricity runs on a polarized thing from A to B. That's how electricity runs. Acoustical waves and acoustical vibrations do this other thing. They are the vibrations that we feel when we're in nature. They're the vibrations that animals are. They're the vibrations that our bodies naturally are. They are the vibrations that we gravitate to. They are the vibrations that we crave because we are that. You are that. You are acoustical. So those are the first 2 things. Everything is energy and you have abilities with energy. Now, business is great because it's such a playground for the expression of anything we want to create and taking it to market and finding people that want to pay us for it. And then at some point it changes. And I don't know if that's when we've scaled so much that now we're running a business, now we're kind of getting more into the nitty gritty and the electrical stuff. And we kind of leave the acoustical space of creation and go towards the electrical components of management and numbers and, metrics and all that stuff. And I know some of us groove on that stuff, but something shifts. And it would be interesting possibly for you to look at if that's happened for you already, if something has shifted and because what happens when it shifts and you don't acknowledge it is you get tired. You are not a natural functioner of electrical things. So when you spend most of your time there, or when you tip there, and then you have to then use an enormous amount of more energy to keep yourself going. You're no longer functioning from the acoustical wave of joy. You're no longer functioning from the acoustical wave of creativity and art and pleasure and all those things that just naturally enliven you. You're trying hard. You've stopped the acoustical flow and now you're in the electrical flow of getting things done. So it's not wrong. It's just hard. It's hard, and it's why we get tired, and it's why we lose our spark, and it's why we burn out. Because we've lost touch with Haven't lost it, but we've gone out of tune with our own acoustical wave. Questions are the key to that kingdom. When you were a kid, when I was a kid, I was curious about everything. My partner and I have conversations about him as a child. He used to describe himself as a bad child. And then one day I said, were you a bad child or were you just curious about everything? Because he would say, well, I just did all these things and it caused my parents so much pain. And it took us years of being together and having these conversations for him to get a different point of view about himself. But the truth was he was insatiably curious. You tell me about concrete. I want to know what concrete does down in that drain. Let me find out. Not from being bad, but from being curious. So a lot of us were made really wrong for that because we were a lot. We were a lot to handle with our actions. We were a lot to handle with our energy. We were a lot to handle with our questions. And so for most of us, we shut that down. But you, acoustically, are naturally very curious. So questions, true questions, open questions, ones that invite the curiosity of the universe are the keys to the kingdom. They're the third big key of Functional Consciousness 101. Questions are the keys to the kingdom. So how do you go about starting asking questions when maybe that's not something, maybe that's an ability that you've forgotten or something you've never even developed or something you never even recognized that you were good at? You just start simple. You start with one. And this is all from Access Consciousness, my 10 years there. What else is possible that I haven't considered? So many times we get ourselves into these situations that we can't think our way out of because trust me, if you could have, you would have. And as a last resort, we cry out to the universe, but you can do it before you get to the last resort point. And it just starts with like, what else is possible here that I haven't considered? Now, keep in mind that questions are not meant to be answered. A true question has no answer. Now, in coaching, which is what I do, I will ask a lot of questions, and you might speak from those questions. But in facilitation, which is different than coaching, a question is meant to open the space. You know why? Because you as an energetic being thrive in space. And possibilities show up in space. You can't think your way into more possibilities. You can question your way into more possibilities. The more you are the question, the more the possibilities show up. The fourth thing to know is that choice is the other key. I always have another choice. Now, the challenging part about being in business and being where we're at right now and having achieved this level of success and having our identity wrapped up in it and all the things is that it is easy to feel like you don't have another choice, that you've now gotten yourself so tangled in your own beautiful mess that there is nothing else for you. But that right there is the lie. Choice is one of these realities that set me free early on into my journey with consciousness, and it continues to do so. I, unlike you, came from a childhood where I felt pretty victimized by my childhood. I felt pretty abused by everything that went on. The problem was that I mimicked some of my family and moved forward into my life and kept being the victim. I didn't know that's what I was doing. It was super unconscious. But then you fast forward 40 years into the future and I'm in my business that I built, feeling victimized again, feeling victimized by the thing I built and feeling like I had no other choice. Now, this is, of course, partnered with some convergences of things. It didn't always feel like that. But that's the thing. It's like all of a sudden one day you wake up and you just are feeling victimized and bashed by the thing you created. And you lost touch with being conscious about when and where that might have happened. Remembering that you always have another choice is key. Now, choice is different from decision. Decisions are final. You have to base everything on a decision. I made a decision to do this, and so therefore is always what a decision model is. But a choice model is, I chose this, I can choose again. A choice is only good for about 10 seconds. And if you want to know more about this, you can dive deep into The 10 Keys to Total Freedom by Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane Here. It's just good for 10 seconds, so it doesn't really mean that much, if anything. It's like if I chose this, then I can choose again, then I can choose again, then I can choose again, which, as entrepreneurs, is what we did in the beginning. If you've ever built a SaaS company or a piece of software or a program or a business, you know something about being in the constant process of choice. It's choice, 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 choice. And then you get more information, and then you choose again, and you choose again, and you choose again. What happens with success is that the success starts to roll like this, and we haven't necessarily stayed super conscious through this whole process, and now our steamroller that we built is starting to roll us over, and now we're like, oh my God, I don't have another choice. I wanted this. I want this. I want this. I wanted this. I wanted. This is what I wanted. Why do I feel like death? Important to remember that you always have another choice. You have a choice to not be rolled over by the thing. You have you have so many choices. You have infinite choices. So a great question would be, what are the choices I have here that I haven't considered? What choices do I have here that I haven't considered? The fifth thing, I'll wrap with this. These are the keys. Your 101 education on functional consciousness. Nothing is greater than you. Nothing. Not any choice you've made in the past. Not your past. Not your family obligations. Not your business obligations. Not what you've created so far. Not your clients, not your customers, not your reputation, not what people might think. If you change everything, nothing is greater than you. You are the gift and the possibility. What if you are the gift and the possibility to yourself, to your family, to your team, to your clients, to your future? There's nothing greater than you. So if this, and fill in the blank with what this is, wasn't greater than you, what would you choose? Now, in the next video, I'm going to go into the top 3 functional consciousness tools that you can start using now to get more calm, more clarity, and more of a sense of possibility for the choices that you really have. I'll see you over there.